Shalom Aleichem, sweetest friends. This year is should be a special schus for Yeshayahu Batznecha Gittel Bracha Batzlecha B'chol Maaseh Yadeha and L'Refuas Miriam Bas Chaya and Esther Rus Bas Naomi Sarah. We've been discussing the Gemara in Maseches Shabbos and Daf Samach Beis, which expounds on the pasuk in Yeshayahu, who explicates the reasons for the Churban. And we saw Yan Ki Gavu B'nos Tzion, that they would walk B'kom Zekufa with an upright posture, which Maran Arav says means that they thought they didn't have to bend at all. They thought they had all of their kochos within themselves. There was a lack of humility. V'teilachne netuyos garon ekev b'tzad gudel, that they would go with an outstretched neck, that they would walk very slowly, which the Rav says means that their brain didn't need to control the actions of the rest of their body. Even their body didn't feel that they needed their brain. And that also came, of course, from Gaiva. And therefore, they didn't have zrizus to go places fast, because where do they need to go if they have it all? So they walk slowly. This is all the Rav. Rashi learns Koma Zekufa. Rashi doesn't say what the big chisaron is. And when it says that they would walk slowly, Rashi says to the boys, look at them. Next to Misakra Seinayim, that they would fill their eyes with makeup and they would then wink to the boys. And we obviously understand on a simple level that a lack of tznius. And the Rav explained that they reached such a low that they didn't have their own atzmius. They lost their atzmius. So it wasn't, they couldn't find shleimus within themselves. They needed the approval of the boys, of the outside world. And that's what happens when a person is filled with gaiva, then their life lacks content. And if you're empty inside, you need something from the outside, some affirmation. So this is what we discussed in the previous shiurim at length, and now we're up to the part of the pasuk that says Haloch v'tofov telachna. What does that mean? The Gemara says Shahayu mahalchos aruka b'tzad ktsara. They would go a tall girl next to a short girl, says the Rav. ההשתקעות של הגאווה הפחותה כשהיא מחשכת את ההוד הפנימי של הנשמה בניבולה, being immersed in the very low midah of gaiva, when it darkens the internal splendor of the neshama in its disgrace. מעקרת בקרב לב האדם את כל ערכו הפנימי. It uproots from within the heart of man his entire internal value. מפני שבאמת על ידי ההתמכרות אל הגאווה נעשה האדם שפל ונבזה. When a person is addicted to gaiva, he becomes very low and disgraceful. עד שבפנימיותו הוא חסר ערך. To the point that in his pnimius, in his internal world, he lacks value. This is the mahalach of the entire Gemara. For the reasons for the Churban, it's gaiva. It's thinking I have it all, not having to learn from anybody else, not having to lower myself at all, needing affirmation from others as to my value. So it keeps getting worse as we go along. על כן מתגברת בקרבו רק התאווה של ההתראות בעיני אחרים. And therefore all you're left with is that other people should look at you. I need somebody to look at me. If nobody's looking at me, I don't matter. You know what it sounds like? It sounds like the year Leminyanam 2018. What is Facebook and Instagram and all those Marin Bishan? Look at me. Look at me. I have to send my pictures. My wife, my beautiful children. Look where I was, look what I did. What does everybody have to see you for? The answer is people don't feel fulfilled. So if other people are looking at me, somehow it gives me value. How many likes I have, how many friends, all these things. But this is already going back. This is an Alta Maisa Meredu. This is a few thousand years ago. But that's human nature. Unless one works to overcome his or her nature. וכשהוא מתגבר אצל הנשים, מבלהו את העולם בהרס הצניעות והדרת המוסר כולו. When this midah of not feeling my own value unless other people are looking at me affects, is internalized by the ladies, then it's not just pathetic, but it's a complete breach of the basic standards of tznius, and then we're finished. It was in the news recently that there was a woman, I didn't know her, I didn't see her. I disabled pictures on my Google Chrome, so I don't have to see pictures, Baruch Hashem. Wouldn't want to see most of the pictures they're showing. Show a picture of the Chafetz Chaim, I'd want to see, but I already know that picture, that's really not the Chafetz Chaim. There was a story of a lady who has a name, a last name, very Yerushalmi last name, very frumma Yerushalmi last name. A married woman, and she makes a living, she's a model. And some people got upset at her, like, she's a Haredi woman, a Haredi neighborhood, you're a model. And she continues, that's what she wants to do, that's her dream is to be a model. And her husband, what does he say? I didn't see a picture of him, but I'm sure I know what he looks like. He's got a long beard, he wears a round black hat probably, he wears a shtreimel on Shabbos, he has long round payas. He said, that's what she wants to do, that's great, he supports her. And men, if you don't want to look, don't look. He knows people are going to look and have fantasies about his wife, but it's their problem. That's what he says. That's what he says. So that is the end of tznius in the world, if that's what's happening in Baruch Hashem. It's only one family. It's a yotzim and a klal. 99.9% of the Yerushalmi women aren't like that. And b'chlal, women in Yerushalayim, even if they're not from Yerushalayim, if they're from Passaic, if they're from Lakewood, if they're from Flatbush, if they're from Kiryat Sefer, if they're from Bnei Brak, if they're from Tzfat, wherever they're from, B'nos Yisrael Kadoshos. There's no question about it. But there is a tofa'ah, there is a phenomenon like that of a lack of tznius. And that's what we're talking about over here. That was what was happening at the time of the Churban. That they had to get men to look at them. They wanted men to look at them. Here, this we're talking about a Mara Rachmana Litzlan. She's paid so that men look at her. I can't imagine anything worse. And this is Heretz HaTzniut v'Hadrat HaMusar Kula. That's the destruction of modesty and the glory of any sense of morality. התאווה של הסבת המבט מביאה שכל אחד ירצה להראות איזה הצטיינות של פליאה כדי שהאדם שמן החוץ יתבונן עליו. This taiva of other people looking at me brings somebody to show some uniqueness, some specialness, some hitztainut. The hitztain means to excel, but it really means mitzuyan, the same means to mark. Remarkable, something outstanding. I have to show something that's different about me, a plia about me, so that other people should look at me. This, incidentally, my sweet friends, is what we spoke about in the previous year. The Guinness Book of World Records. They should call it the Guinness Book of Mishugayim. The Guinness Book of Mishugayim, that's what you should call it. In memory of Mr. Louis Guinness, whatever his first name was. Louis Guinness is searched for the greatest Mishugayim in the world. This Mishugana climbs a mountain that nobody else climbed before because 21,000 people before him died trying to climb this mountain. And this Mishugana got to the top of the mountain. Chances are he would have died, and he knew that. He knew that. He's 21 years old, he's healthy, he's happy, he has a family, he has a girlfriend, he has parents, he has friends, everything's good. But he's willing to risk his life, seriously risk his life, to get into the Guinness Book of World Records. It's Mishugana. Another guy lies on a bed of nails, the most nails, upright nails, and he lies down, the most nails ever lay on. He'd lay on that bed for 4 consecutive days and 16 hours. And he went up, he had bruises all over his back, and he was bleeding, and he had a medical treatment. But no, he set the record. He lay on that bed for the longest ever. It's mamish pile plus. You have to have that man over for Shabbos dinner. As a matter of fact, you invite him for the whole Shabbos. You don't even have to give him a comfortable bed. He's cool. That's the wild nature of man that knows that he has nothing. He has no hashlam on himself. So he has to do something mishugana, something insane, so that people look at him. And that's what these girls wanted. Look at me. כדי שתיפול השתוממות על שתיהם. ואפילו הקצרה בחרה במעמד כזה כדי שיסבו העיניים להתעניין בזרותה. What do? They're so interested in getting people to look at them. They so want to get their picture in the newspaper. You know what they do? They take a girl who's 6'3" and another girl who's 4'8", and they're both, just looking at them itself is already a little bit, she's a little bit shorter than normal. No offense to any 4'8" girls watching this, or 6'3" girls watching this. But each one, bifnei atzma, is a little bit yoytze migeder harogil, a little bit out of the ordinary, let us say. אבל מה הם רצו? הם רצו, הנשים האלו, הבנות האלו, that people should look at them and say, that is really weird, because then you have the really, really tall girl next to the really, really short girl. So they both look strange. That's what he means. Hitstainut shel pli'ah. Even something crazy, even something wondrous. Look at how tall I am. Look at, one girl, she's really, really heavy. In modern Hebrew they say mle'ah. You have another girl, she's really, really skinny. So she wants to look and she wants to look. So they do something, please just look at me. They wanted his shtomamut, that people should wonder when they look at these two girls, what's going on over here? And even the shorter girl, everyone's, look at how short she is. If you're not standing next to anybody, you don't look as short, right? But when you just see yourself in comparison to other people, pitom, it's like you look at David Stern. David Stern was the former, I don't think he's commissioner anymore. He was the former commissioner of the National Basketball Association. What's a bar mitzvah? When a Jewish kid realizes that the odds of him owning the team are far greater than the odds of him ever playing for the team, right? So the Jews are running the sports leagues. We own a lot of the teams. We're not playing for too many of them, right? So anyway, who's the commissioner of the league? David Stern from Teaneck. Okay? So when you look at David Stern standing at the podium saying, and the 4th pick in the 1997 draft for the Detroit Pistons is Joakim Walker. Okay. So as long as David's standing at the podium, he's cool. But then when Joakim comes up there to get his Pistons cap, to stand next to David for a picture, all of a sudden you see that David Stern, I don't know how tall he is, but compared to Joakim, who's 6'11" and a half, he looks about 4'3". So he's like, oh, it's a big difference. So as long as the girl's standing on her own, she doesn't look so short. But the moment she stands next to, the center for the basketball team, she looks very short. And the girls didn't mind looking strange. You know why? Because now somebody's going to look at me. That's what they were holding. It means it's not just that they're going to look at you. It's you're completely empty inside. And that causes them to break down the barriers of tznius. ובגוף האומה בכללה מביאה שפלות כזאת הנולדת מגאווה שפלה לשכח את רוממות ערכה ואת מעלותיה האלוקיות. And this causes in the entire nation that we forget our romamus, our hecherkeit. I always like to quote Rashi, and Elmole hayoyma kame Yosef ika b'shuka, if not for that day, Yom Matan Torah, how many Jews they'd be walking around the shuk. Look, Rashi, Shalamaditi Torah v'nisroi mamti, says Rav Yosef, I learned Torah and I was exalted. That's what Torah does. Migadalto, like it says in Pirkei Avos. It raises a person, it elevates a person. Ba'avur nasos ischem ba'Elokim, says by Har Sinai, to raise you. Kadosh Baruch Hu gives us a hoy buf. We're a higher people. We're elevated. What they call a slabotka mahalach. Roimumus ha'odom, gadlus ha'odom. And here, it's mamish pathetic. You're so empty inside, unless somebody else is looking at you, you don't feel good. ולהתמכר רק להסב את העין החיצונית של האומות אליה. We want the goyim, they have to look at us. Oh, the Jewish people. That's what's happening in the nation. We need the goyim to look at us. It says in Shir HaMalos, Higdil Az Yomer HaGoyim, Higdil Hashem La'asasim Eile. And we say, Higdil Hashem La'asasim Mana. First, the goyim say, Higdil Hashem. Oh, the goyim say, Higdil Hashem. We can also say. Sometimes, that's where we're holding. We have to know our Romamas. We don't need any goy to say that Jerusalem is the capital of the Jewish people. We don't need that. Jerusalem is the capital whether they say or not. And we don't need anybody to say that Eretz Yisrael belongs to us. The Rabbanu Shalom said it. Gave it to us. We don't need. If they do, sometimes Pasuk says, Goyim are going to appreciate. But, again, misquoted that Pasuk. But anyway, you're not supposed to say Pasukim by heart. That wasn't my kavan. But we shouldn't need that. We should have it in ourselves, and then we should radiate that to the world, our own beliefs, and then they'll believe. When we have to look at the nations, and we have to get their confirmation, their certification, then we forget our holy, elevated state. We are the God's treasure. And these girls didn't realize that. They had to, look at me, look at me. They didn't realize their own specialness. And then as a nation, this obviously that permeated all of us, that we needed external validation. And that's, we forget our godly value. And then we sink to the depths. That's what happened. Anyway, Rabbi Sai, this is one little mamish, not even a whole column. And how much wisdom there is to learn in our Torah Kedosha. So, Mitzvah Shem, we should be Zocha, to feel special without anybody having to look at us. Without anybody having to validate us. And to know that every person is gifted by Hashem with such special kochos, such a beautiful holy neshama. And there's never been anybody like you. There'll never be anybody like you. You don't have to worry. Nobody can ever take your place. Nobody can ever do what you can do. Nobody has your tikkun to make. Nobody has your special capabilities. Nobody. So we should feel good about ourselves as individuals and good about ourselves as people. And if a girl is pure pretty, Kol Benos Yisrael Yafos, Pasha. She doesn't need anybody to look at her on the street. Chas v'shalom. Nobody has to look at her. She knows. That's the way Hashem. She's a daughter of Hashem. She's a Bas Melech. She's a princess. So once you're a princess, you don't need every guy in the street to turn his head. It cheapens you. We don't want to be cheapened, Rabbi said. So we should be Zocher Mitzvah Hashem, to feel our romamas, to feel our hechakait, our elevation. And be Zocher B'Karov, to be as Goel Tzedek, B'Meher V'Yameinu, Amen V'Amen, Shalom Shalom, sweetest and most beloved friends.